Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward. Today on the podcast, let's talk customer acquisition plans. This is something we're talking a lot about in group coaching at the moment because coming up to 2021, with 2020 having thrown so many curveballs in our way, we're helping businesses focus on what is going to be the new strategy for acquiring customers. So what is a customer acquisition plan? Why do you need it? How do you construct it? And then what do you do with it once you have one? So in today's episode, we're going to cover those 4 things. So what is a customer acquisition plan? A customer acquisition plan is the plan that you're going to put in place for acquiring, getting, bringing in new customers. So this is the plan for getting first-time customers, new customers. This is not a sales plan for how you'll get your ongoing revenue streams. This is about how you're going to bring new people into your business. Why do you need one? Well, for a number of reasons. Having a customer acquisition plan is important so that you can stay on target for your growth of the business. It's also important so that you can understand how your brand is being received by the people that you perceive to be your customers. So if your customer acquisition plan is not proving fruitful, there's something off. Your communication strategy with your customers is either off, or the people who you thought were your customers are not actually your target market. And this proves right throughout coffee. This proves true for whether you are a cafe, whether you are a consultant in the coffee industry. This proves true if you are a roastery, across the board. Okay, so we've explained what a customer acquisition plan is. We've talked about why you need it. Now let's dig into how you construct one. This is not a 5-minute experiment. This is not a 5-minute exercise. This is something that requires the hard work of, first of all, going through the process of understanding who your customers are. And most businesses won't have one kind of customer. You're very lucky if you do, because that makes your customer acquisition plan rather easy. Most businesses have a couple of different types of customers. So we go through the process of determining in very great detail what are the different elements of your specific customers. So for example, you have one type of customer who is a wealthy, affluent person living in a specific neighborhood in where your cafe is, because that sets your cafe is set apart from other cafes in your area because you charge more, but you offer more higher end coffees. So you're not going to expect a person who's earning up to $50,000 a year to be spending $100 a cup on a specific coffee that you're offering. But your customer acquisition plan for that specific coffee could be wealthy, affluent women or men, or in between in that area. It could also be the coffee professional in your neighborhood or in neighboring neighborhoods in your city that would be interested in trying an exclusive coffee that you have to offer. So you can see, even though that person may not be earning a lot of money, it is something that they still may be interested in drinking. There's an example of 2 different kinds of customers that you would need to outline as your specific customer in your customer acquisition plan for that specific product or for your entire business. So we start off with identifying who our customers are. Once we have a detailed description of them, and go as detailed as you possibly can, then you want to cast out a net of how you get their attention. And that's your marketing plan. How do you get your customers to pay attention to the information or the exposure that they're receiving about your business? Once you've figured out how you get to them and you tell them about your product, then you have to figure out, how am I going to generate what we call a sales funnel, so that once they are exposed to your brand, we can convert your potential customer into a first-time sale. So the act of them being exposed to your business through your branding and marketing, and then going through a number of steps, as few steps as possible, so that they can become a first-time customer, that is your customer acquisition plan. But it requires some research to activate. You can market to as many people as you want and throw the net far and wide. But your customer acquisition plan will activate more effectively if you do the research and figure out who your customers actually are. And this is part of the process of figuring out who your target market is. So you may think that your customer base is 1 or 2 or 5 different kinds of people, but through your customer acquisition testing, which is one of the steps we're going to talk about, you may be surprised to find that it's actually not who you thought it was. All right, so that is how you construct a customer acquisition plan. Now, there's a lot more detail in how you do that and specific to your business. That's what we cover in either the one-on-one consulting, the one-on-one monthly consulting, or in the Mastermind group coaching. Now, the last step of all of this is the testing. Why is testing so important? Well, testing will, one, help you realize that you're not crazy. It will help you realize either you are on or off with regards to your predictions of who your customers are. We had to do a lot of this, and we're continuing to do a lot of this for Elixir, because Elixir Specialty Coffee is the first truly innovative coffee beverage on the market for a long time, like decades. And so for us to go out and try and figure out who the actual customers are for this beverage has been stressful to no end. And there have been a lot of barriers that have got in the way of us getting true data about it. There have been influencing factors that have hesitated people that may be actual Elixir Specialty Coffee customers that hesitated to buy because of external forces. They were being shamed because they were interested in buying it or trying it. They were buying into a bunch of groupthink, whatever. All of these things can play into your customer acquisition plan. Your job is to figure out, and this is part of the fun part for some people, how do I turn that around? How do I identify through my sales funnel by figuring out, well, where do people not engage? And this is all through looking at the data. Who is interested in my brand but hesitates to buy, and why do they hesitate to buy? What is stopping this very important word, the conversion of someone who's interested in my brand to somebody who's buying from my brand? And it's important for you to figure out how to develop a customer acquisition strategy, not only for your business, but every time you come up with a new product. Have a very deliberate strategy about releasing, let's say, every year, cafes here in the US release a version of a pumpkin spice latte. I rarely see anybody come up with a customer acquisition plan for this seasonal beverage that they're offering. They just advertise it. Imagine though, if you went through a specific plan of how to execute on a new beverage you were sending into market, or a new coffee that you were releasing. How are you maximizing the potential of having that new product and injecting it as a part of your customer acquisition plan? The last 2 episodes of the podcast, we spoke about free coffee. Giving away free coffee can be a part of a customer acquisition plan. Cafes, when they launch in a lot of places, particularly in my hometown in Sydney, they've gotten used to the idea of, the first 2 days or the first day that they open, it's a soft launch. They advertise the hell out of it and they invite family and friends to come for their only free coffee. And this is a great way to invite people into your store, but they also invite the neighborhood or surrounding small business owners and their staff to come and have a free coffee. And this is great because it tests their systems and people don't have massively high expectations if they have to wait a few extra minutes for a great coffee because they're getting it for free. So it's a great way to test your workflow, but it's also a great way to meet the people in your local neighborhood and acquire them as first-time paying customers. And what you do is you give them a free coffee and you have a chat with them, and the loss that you're taking that is a part of your budget for your customer acquisition plan budget. I hope this has been helpful. If we can help you any further, get in contact with us, support@mapitforward.org, or through our website, or check out our consulting services, mapitforward.org/consulting, or potentially join a mastermind group. They've been incredibly successful. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.